The hidden cost of cybersecurity attack isn't just the breach itself, it's a knowledge debt left behind. When incident playbooks remain buried in static PDFs and telemetry is siloed in tables, you lose the most valuable asset, institutional memory. Today I'm going to show you how you can use Agentbricks to build a security governance hub. We are going to transform a standard operating procedures from passive documents into an adaptive, multi-agent system that enforces process consistency, automates post-incident reviews, and ensures your SOC evolves as fast as the threats it faces. Let's dive in. Let's start by looking at the data sources that we have for this example. We will have three main data sources common in any SOC environment. We have structured tables which represent the metadata about incidents. Like for instance, we can look at the incidents metrics. It contains the data like for instance start and end date for a specific incident, severity, type of incidents, where it happened, and so on. We also have unstructured documents stored in a Unity catalog volume, which represent playbooks and reports. As I mentioned, those are PDF documents and they vary greatly in structure. So the structure of, for instance, impact analysis is much different compared to structure of a playbook for a specific threat type. We will start by building a knowledge assistant, which allows us work with unstructured documents like PDFs, like the one we have here, and start asking questions to those unstructured documents in using natural language. Cool part about it, we don't have to implement a complicated logic to actually parse those documents. So let's dive in. I already created a few agents that we'll be using today, and I will explain how it's actually done under the hood a little bit later, but let's start by asking questions to the agent. Where you can find agents, you go to agents, and then you have a list of agents that you can use. I have my knowledge assistant one, and this is the one that I created for this presentation. I will start with a simple question, like for instance, give me a list of security playbooks and a short summary of every single one of them. We start getting our answers, and you see that it's not a generic assistant that goes somewhere to internet and fetches generic information. It is based on our documents because this is an incident that we will be investigating in this particular example. We can dive a little bit deeper and ask Assistant also to how strategies differ depending on incident type. As you can see here that Knowledge Assistant helps us identify the key difference between these incident reports. We can also ask it to go one level deeper and suggest a list of playbooks that we need to develop based on a gap in our documentation. Knowledge Assistant recommended a list of playbooks that we might want to develop based on information that it has. Obviously, it doesn't mean that those playbooks don't exist in the organization. It just means that we don't have access to them in our storage. But this is a question to an unstructured data in our PDF documents. It will be very powerful to combine it with the structured data about our incidents. To access the structured data, we need to use a Genie space, because Genie is specifically built to ask questions in natural language to structured data stored in tables. Let's go there. You can find Genie under the SQL tab, and I already have a Genie space pre-built. Okay, so now let's start asking questions to Genie. Let's start with, for instance, October campaign, October incident that we had, and try to understand a bit of more details regarding that one. As you can see here, we are using all the tables that I showed you at the beginning. Unity catalog, those are exactly the same tables. You see here that Genie provided us with a detailed analysis of what happened, also showing us a graph of, for instance, anomalous events throughout the period and so on, and also provided us with detailed metrics and so on. For every single query that Genie executed, you can see where this data is coming from, but you can also, if you go up, you can see the thinking process of how Genie came up with that answer. We can start asking more in-depth questions to it as well, like for instance, which regions or entity types was the most affected by the incidents that happened in October. Okay, we start getting our answers. You can also see a regional breakdown based on information that we have. Keep in mind that this is all information coming from structured data that we had. So ultimately, I showed you by now 2 different ways to access 2 different types of data. Wouldn't it be ideal to combine them in one single agent that we can actually ask our questions, and then the agent decides to which, is it a question to structured data, is it a question to our PDF documents, and so on. And we can actually do it. So ultimately what we want to build is an architecture like this. We want to have our knowledge assistant, which has access to playbooks and incident reports stored in Unity catalog volumes. We also want to have our Genie space, which has access to incident metadata. We want to combine them in one agent and then ask questions to it. In Databricks, you can do it by using a supervisor agent, and I already built one of us specifically for this purpose. You can see here, supervisor agent. Let's go to it. Before we dive into how it actually works, let's test that it does what we want it to do. We got an answer from our supervisor agent. Not focusing specifically on the answer, I want to show you that agent actually tried to decide to which underlying agents delegate this task to. So you can see here that the first it started asking questions to a Genie space for getting specific structured data. After that, another question to Genie space. But if you see a little bit further, it also started asking questions to our knowledge assistant, meaning that it started using the PDF documents to find an answers it needed. Of course, it wouldn't be AI if it wouldn't add like a super nice emojis once in a while, but you can see how powerful the system can be. Now, let's dive deeper into how it actually worked. So as you can see here on the left side, we have information about our supervisor agent. As you can see here, it has 2 agents added. One of them is our knowledge assistant that I showed you a few minutes earlier, and the second one is our Genie space. You can add up to 20 different agents for supervisor to work with it. We have our agents set up, everything seems to be working, but one question that you might ask, like, how can you improve it? Obviously, none of the agents will be perfect from first try, just because it doesn't know a lot of information about your organization. So how can you improve it? Essentially, to start improving answers from a supervisor agent, you need to start by improving answers from individual agents. And we will start with a Genie space. So if you go to Genie, there are multiple ways how you can actually make this Genie space better. If you start by default by adding your tables and start asking questions, you might, in certain cases, be disappointed with answers because it might not understand specific terminology that you use, or doesn't particularly nicely understand how to join specific tables. There are many ways how you can actually tweak and tune Genie, but I would like to show you just a few of them which can get you started. We will focus on 4 core capabilities that you can add. First of all, data itself, and after that we will talk about instructions, joins, and example queries for SQL. So let's start with the data. When you start working with data needs to have a very nice metadata attached to it. If your tables are called XYZ, it would be really hard for Genie to understand what's the content of it, because metadata of a table is a primary source of analysis for Genie to understand what this table is about. If you go here, you can see that we have a description for a table, but we don't have description for individual columns, which is a gap we can we definitely should add it for an individual columns as well. One interesting thing here is that besides adding metadata of what does it mean, you can also add synonyms, which essentially explain all other ways of calling this table. Don't forget to add synonyms here because it's crucial for Genie to become better. Another part where we can actually improve quality of answers from a Genie space is instructions, joins, and SQL queries. Let's start with the SQL queries. SQL queries allow you to specify certain queries that Genie should use for a specific questions that you ask to it. When you try to add those queries, don't add like a generic select star type of queries. Genie is smart enough to understand how to do those. Add queries that are very specific to your data, queries that are much more detailed comparing to just a generic one. Treat Genie as a junior analyst who doesn't know yet every single specific of your organization, but very talented in understanding and working with data. At the same time, what you might also want to do, you might want to specify how to join specific tables and on which condition. This is one level deeper because here you help Genie to follow specific logic of how your data needs to be connected. And the last one, last but not least, is instructions. My advice to you would be don't start with instructions. Instructions should be your last resort after everything else is configured. One important thing here is that you cannot know if Genie is good or bad if you can't measure it. That's why here you also have benchmarks. What benchmarks do, they allow you to evaluate your Genie every time you make certain changes in either instructions or joins or SQL queries, or maybe your data structure changed. How do they look like? Essentially, it's a bunch of queries and also ground truth answers that Genie should execute. Every time you change something in your configuration of your Genie space, you can run benchmark and see how Genie performs against that benchmark. Now, let's move to a knowledge assistant. If our Genie is perfect, let's see what we can tweak and tune in our knowledge assistant. When you try to improve knowledge assistant, you have two main ways to do it. First of all, you definitely need to specify a description of your knowledge assistant. It will help a supervisor agent to select a proper knowledge assistant if you have many of them. It uses exactly this description to make it better. The second one, you can also specify instructions, similar to what we just saw in Genie space. It allows you to guide knowledge assistant to a certain behavioral patterns. And one of the critical point is examples. Knowledge assistant is an agent learning from human feedback. The more you use it, the more it understands your data structure, the more it understands your thinking process, and the more it learns from you. To be able to help it from a get-go, you need to add questions and guidelines of how to respond to those certain questions. Again, similar to Genie examples, don't add simple questions, what is incident or what is campaign. Knowledge assistant is smart enough to figure out the simple questions. Add questions that your junior analyst would have difficulties with. And now, when your both agents are configured properly, we go and tweak and tune our supervisor agent. Similarly to knowledge assistant, here is where description is critical. Because our supervisor agent decides which agent to call, which underlying agent to call, it relies on a description of a certain agent to understand is it the right agent to be called. Another part similar to knowledge assistant is examples. Okay, we configure it, it gives us answers. One last step that we need to do is we need to understand how to monitor those agents. All those agents are registered in MLflow as an experiment, and there you can monitor your agents. If we click here on experiment, we go to MLflow. And what it allows us to do, it allows us to see all the traces related to an execution of that specific agent. Meaning that every single interaction with that specific agent, in our case a supervisor agent, is tracked in MLflow, and you can see exactly what happened, what kind of errors, what kind of issues user faced, how long it took, and so on. You can see here also a detailed path of which agent was called, which function, and so on. Obviously, your end user will not be looking there, but it will help you significantly to actually monitor how those agents perform and how to improve it over time. Maybe certain loops are redundant, maybe certain parts are not as efficient as possible. Here as well, you can set up judges to essentially evaluate how good your agent responds to certain questions. You can make this evaluation system as complex as you would like, but what's important here is that you have a full traceability and also ability to evaluate those agents in production. Our story wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about data privacy. When we're working with security documents, of course they have a lot of PII and other sensitive data. There are three main components how you can prevent this data from being accessed either through agents or just visible to an end user. First of all, we stored all our data in Unity catalog, which implies that we can set up a fine-grained permission of who can access this data and when. We can also set up policies for this data to be able to either mask this data or hide for certain users. So back to our architecture that we built today. Agentbricks allows you to combine multiple specialized agents into one cohesive system. Being part of a Databricks ecosystem, it all runs within your scalable, secure Lakehouse environment. We saw it with Unity catalog, we saw it with other components. Agentbricks revolutionized how security teams use 𝐊𝐶 playbooks, transforming static documents into intelligent, adaptive systems. You can start with yours today, and I would be happy to hear how it goes.